और इसको संभालना सबसे चैलेंजिंग वर्क है। इसमें विश्व के जो बहुत उच्च कोटि के प्रचारक या साधक हैं वही आके यहाँ शिक्षा प्राप्त करते हैं। तो आप लोग कल्पना विचार कर सकते हैं कि किस स्तर के भक्त वहाँ पढ़ते हैं और किस स्तर के भक्त वहाँ पढ़ाते होंगे। सन्यासी लोग पढ़ते भी हैं और सन्यासी लोग पढ़ाते भी हैं, और जो सन्यासी बनते हैं वो दिखाया करके वहाँ शिक्षा प्राप्त करते हैं। अब उन लोगों को जो निर्देश करता होगा उसका स्तर क्या होता है। वास्तव में सभी लोगों का ये अनुभव भी है और कहना भी है कि प्रशांता माताजी यद्यपि फीमेल बॉडी में है पर शी इज डेफिनेटली इंटरनेटिंग एक्सटेंड को उनकी जो चेतना, उनका ज्ञान, उनकी अनुभूति, निगरानी का एंड प्रतिचर वाले कहा करते थे ही इज ए परफेक्ट ऑर्गेनाइजर। At the same time, she is a perfect teacher, preacher, counselor, and organizer. उनका सौभाग्य है ऐसी दोनों मतलब विशिष्ट आत्माएं जो आती हैं, उनका जो हमारा दर्शपात होता है उसमें कितना लाभ होता है, उनके मुख संस्मरण करके कितना लाभ होता है। हमारा सौभाग्य है कि मतलब यहाँ आती को प्रेम देती हैं, फिर वैष्णव शिक्षक के आप सब जाते हैं, लाभ लेके आते हैं। और मेरा ये अनुभव है कृष्ण भक्ति तो शायद ठीक नहीं है, अगर हम कहते हैं गौरांग राम की भक्ति तो अभी शायद पूरी तरह ठीक नहीं है, फिर ये क्या है और बता सकता है। ये गुरु गोस्वामी की भक्ति, इनका जो रूपानुभाव भाव है वो मुझे पूरी ISKCON देखा सबसे दुर्लभ है। और इस प्रकार से मेरे ऐसी में भी गुरु गोस्वामी के उत्सव मनाए जाते हैं, उससे पता लगता है वास्तव में जो भाव चैतन्य महाप्रभु को वो दासन का भाव क्या है वो प्रशांता माताजी की, प्रशांता माताजी की गोपाल की
हरी हरी। मैं 2 मिनट कीर्तन करूंगी शुरू करने से पहले। और आज पूछना चाहती थी मैं, कितने लोग यहाँ अंग्रेज़ी नहीं समझते कि मुझे हमेशा टॉर्चर देते हैं कि मुझे हिंदी में बोलना है। हाँ, वेरी गुड आइडिया।
जो लोगों को हिंदी में सुनने दिक्कत है ना, आप पीछे साइड में आ जाइए और सुनने को हमको ट्रांसलेशन कर देगा, तो हमें काफ़ी उसमें करते हैं लेकिन रास्ते में आ रहेगा और आराम से इंग्लिश में बात देंगे। क्योंकि 90% लोग समझ रहे हैं, 10% को भी ऐसे लोग इंग्लिश में समझ रहे हैं। जो लोग हिंदी सुनना चाहते हैं वहाँ आ जाए, आपको ट्रांसलेट करने के लिए।
जय राधा संकीर्तन की जय। श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभु की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंद। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टां स्थापितां येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। Mukham karoti vacharam bhangam langayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam Devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiraye. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 3, Chapter 17, and we'll read 3 verses, beginning with verse number 23. This chapter is entitled The Victory of Hiranyaksha, and we will see from the verse today that this is a temporary victory. So verse number 23, I will read it. Savaiti rohitan drishtva mahasasvena daityarat sendran devaganan kshivan apasyan vanyadat prisham. On not finding Indra and the other demigods who had previously been intoxicated with power, the chief of the Daityas, seeing that they had all vanquished before his might, roared loudly. So for those who are not familiar with this pastime here, this is about the advent of 2 very demoniac beings. Who were they? Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Of course, in the background, we know the story that they are actually devotees. And because they are devotees, that's why they are so powerful. Amazingly powerful. The Lord, enjoying in Vaikuntha, desired a good fight. In Vaikuntha, everyone is a servant of the Lord. So the Lord desired a fight. But who can be powerful enough to oppose him? No one. No matter how much material power someone may accumulate due to various kinds of tapasya, this will never equal the might of the Lord. He is known as Asammurdha. No one is equal to him, no one is superior to him. So no mundane person can actually match him. So when he decides in this world and wants to enact this pastime of fighting, then it has to be an empowered person who is going to fight with him. Empowered by whom? Empowered by him only. So this is the background of Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, that they are devotees, empowered by the Lord. But upon descending on this material universe, they take on an inimical mood towards him, to be able to fight with him. Unless we consider one an enemy, we will not have the impetus to fight very fiercely. So here we see these 2 appeared. First of all, they appeared as children. And even from the time they were conceived and were still in the womb of their mother, they were twins. already there were great disturbances in the world. So many ill omens were there. Just by their presence. Srila Prabhupada explains that when the demoniac forces increase in the world, then there are all sorts of unfortunate manifestations, disruptions. So it is interesting that we are reading this passage because the world today very much reflects the rise of the demoniac forces, the rise of this belligerent mood. Asuras are always in the mood of competing, fighting, dominating. This is their psyche. Whereas the devotees are known as Santa or Shanta. They are very peaceful. They live very peacefully. So here these two have appeared. They have appeared in the world, and they are so powerful that they are actually wandering all over the universe, almost. From the lower planets to the heavenly planets, at least, they are wandering, and they are spreading havoc. So here we see that Hiranyaksha in this verse, he is in the heavenly planets. What is he doing there? He is actually a faithful follower of Hiranyakashipu, his elder brother. And Hiranyakashipu himself, very powerfully, we said already empowered as a person, but also empowered by Lord Brahma after his tapasya. He himself empowered his brother. And Hiranyaksha was very dedicated. Sometimes asuras display some kind of feelings. But as we know, it is temporary. As we saw with Kamsa, he showed so much affection to his sister. But as soon as he understood that maybe some danger could come from his sister, then immediately he turned against her. So Hiranyaksha was also a very dedicated, loving, affectionate follower of his brother Hiranyakashipu. And what was he doing on his behalf? He was conquering the universe. And so here he reached the heavenly kingdom with the idea of defeating the demigods. But by the time he reached there, what? No one was there. What happened to the demigods? They fled. They ran away. They couldn't face him. Too much powerful. So they ran away, they hid. And Hiranyaksha was very disappointed. It's known as the chief of the Daitya Rat. So he roared to frighten everyone. And he roared out of anger, "Where are they?" He could not fulfill his desire to destroy the demigods. Sometimes when there is a dangerous situation, it is better to retreat. The demigods knew that they cannot fight with him. His power has been received from the higher demigods, Lord Brahma. He had blessed Hiranyakashipu, and it is said Hiranyaksha was also blessed with so much power. So they retreated. That was wise. Otherwise, they would have lost their life. They chose to retreat, and of course, what do the demigods do when they retreat? They take shelter of Parameshwara. They take shelter of the Lord. Oh Lord, protect us, protect us, protect us. So in the next verse we hear, Tato nivritta kridisham gambhiram bhima nisvanam vijagahe mahasattva Vardhim Matta Ivadvipa. After returning from the heavenly kingdom, so not finding the demigods, he left. He came back down in the structure of the universe. The mighty demon, who was like an elephant in wrath, for the sake of sport, dived into the deep ocean, which was roaring terribly. So the ocean was roaring. This is one of the signs of disturbance in the world, storms, all sort of material calamities. The ocean is not at peace. The waves are very high. So he dived into the ocean, still looking for other demigods. Who stays in the ocean? Varuna, the Lord of water. So he dived into the ocean. Then we will read verse number 25. Tasmin pravishte varunasya sainika yado gana sannadhiya sadatvasaha ahanyamana apitasya varchasa pradarshita durataram pradudruvuhu. Tasmin pravishte, when he entered the ocean. Varunasya sainikaha, the defenders or the army of Varuna. What did they do? And who are they? First of all, Yada Ganaha, the aquatic animals. What happened to them? Sanna Dhiyaha, meaning they lost their mind. They became depressed. Sasadvasaha, they became filled with fear. Ahanyamanaha, even though they were not hit. So Hiranyaksha entered the ocean, and before he started killing everybody, they again, like the demigods, they all fled away. They were so afraid. Even though he didn't even start hitting them, they were completely frightened. And they became depressed because, like the demigods, they understood that this force we cannot counteract. Then it says, Api, even Tasya, his Varchasa, splendor, Pradarshita, stricken, Durataram, far away, Pradudruvuhu, they ran fast. Prabhupada translates, on his entering the ocean, the aquatic animals who form the host of Varuna, the companions of Varuna, they were stricken with fear and ran far away. Thus Hiranyaksha showed his splendor without dealing a blow. So he conquered the watery kingdom without even a fight. Everyone ran away. Srila Prabhupada's purport. Materialistic demons, hear carefully. Materialistic demons, sometimes. When? Sometimes. What do? They appear to be very powerful. So what is Prabhupada saying? Was Hiranyaksha powerful? Not exactly. He appeared very powerful. But that means there was weakness there. He appeared very powerful. For how long? Sometimes. So the demoniac beings, they sometimes appear to be very powerful, and they are seen to establish the supremacy throughout the world. So sometimes we see the demoniac forces are rising, and it appears they are going to devour the world. But whenever this happens, the common people are very afraid. But those who are sheltered in the Lord, they understand this. This is only temporary. Because ultimately, the Lord is the ruler of the world. and he will bring back peace. He will destroy the demons. This is only temporary. Therefore, the devotees, as soon as there is a rise of negativity, as soon as there is a rise of demoniac influence, they take shelter in the Lord. And they use all the qualities at their might. What is the might of the devotees? It is their qualities, which begins with being surrendered to the Lord and is followed by a host of so many wonderful qualities. They have confidence. They have patience. They have endurance. They have tolerance. They even have forgiveness. So armed with all these qualities, the devotees take shelter of the Lord and they patiently wait until He takes action. So they are not actually phased out. But in order to attain this kind of peaceful state of mind, one has to cultivate one's relationship with the Lord. As long as our relationship with the Lord is not sufficiently grown, built, then what will be there? Fear, panic, disturbance in the mind, depression. It says here that the companions of Varuna became depressed. There is an interesting definition of depression. It's a very interesting definition. Depression has been understood to be frustrated arrogance. You understand? Frustrated arrogance. It means that most of the time, when everything goes well, there is a tendency that the false ego grows. And we become quite confident, not in the Lord, in our own self. We become confident in our own power, which is a mistake, because there is no such own power. All power belongs to Krishna. We do not have any power. Whatever power He gives us, this much we have. So, but when everything goes well, there is a tendency. Who cultivated this beautiful garden? Me. Who messed up everything? Not me. So there is a tendency that we become a little proud as soon as we are successful in any field. We become a little proud. And Krishna is very merciful. So when we become a little proud, He comes to trim. And so He brings opposition, aggression, and then we see here the followers of Varuna unable to fight. Otherwise, it was said in the previous verse about the demigods, the same thing. They had been intoxicated with power while they were in their position and the universe was under them. They had been intoxicated by their positions. So now that Hiranyaksha is coming and he's taking away the kingdom of the demigods in the higher planets, of the lower beings in the underwater kingdom, they become depressed. The ego becomes disturbed, very disturbed. But this, of course, happens only to non-devotees. Devotees, their propriety, their characteristic, is that they are constantly working on themselves, trimming their ego. This should be our work on daily basis. Because this upsurge of demoniac forces is not only in the world, it is also in our heart. Constantly, especially in this age, we are always disturbed. And the demoniac forces are within our own heart. Kali is roaming everywhere and is influencing. So, when we acknowledge this, that we are being attacked by the forces of Kali, one good thing is to retreat, like the demigods are doing. And what do we do on a retreat? We try to connect with Krishna. Try to increase one's connection with the Lord, who is our protector. And not fall in that trap. If we fall in the trap of feeling that our ego has been hurt, then so many things will ensue, beginning with depression. Now, depression is a very dangerous thing because it is a manifestation of the mode of ignorance. So the mode of ignorance covers the consciousness of the jiva. It makes us dull. And when we become overwhelmed with ignorance, we can be further influenced by demoniac forces. Because ignorance switches off our intelligence. A person in the mode of ignorance cannot understand anymore things from the right perspective. It completely overcasts our proper understanding. So as devotees, we have to react to the assaults of demoniac forces by taking complete shelter of the Lord. So here further, Srila Prabhupada says, here also it appears that Hiranyaksha, by his demoniac strength, actually established his supremacy throughout the universe. And the demigods were afraid of his uncommon power. Not only were the demigods in space afraid of the demons Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, but so also were the aquatic animals within the sea. But interestingly enough, Prabhupada always says it appears like it. It appears like it. Again, because the domination of the demoniac forces is temporary. And how soon the demoniac forces will be withdrawn, it depends on how we react. If we are fighting with our own self, within our own self, then we can increase our spiritual practice. We can take shelter of the killers of Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, are two powerful incarnations of the Lord who are protectors of the devotees. Sri Nishingadev, as Prabhupada gave us the worship of Sri Nishingadev, to remove the obstacles on the path of our devotional service, to protect Guru and our relationship with Guru. Lord Varahadev, Saukara avatar, is also a protector. We can also pray to Lord Varaha to protect us. The demigods here, it's very nice to study how they will take shelter of the Lord and beg Him for protection. So there are lessons for everybody in these pastimes. And mostly the lesson is one of humility. Never to become puffed up. We do not have a power of our own which stays with us, that we can control always. We do not. Krishna empowers us. I remember a long time in the past, I was engaged in a service which was way beyond my capacity. But somehow I got engaged by the mercy of Guru and Krishna. In the 1990s, long ago, previous century, we celebrated Srila Prabhupada's centennial, 100 years of the appearance of Srila Prabhupada. In 1996, Prabhupada appeared on the 1st of September 1986 in Kolkata. So 100 years later, ISKCON devotees gathered together to celebrate his 100th anniversary. And the celebration was worldwide. And at that time there was no internet, hardly, it was just starting. There were no mobile phones. So I found myself at the hub of the organization of this worldwide festival. And for 6 years, I was fully engaged in coordinating with temples all over the world, with senior devotees, with younger devotees, managing events, doing so many things. And then, in 1997, 1998, the celebration ended. And I experienced something interesting. I could not anymore relate how to do all these things. I was just thinking, I don't know how I did all this. I had no idea. How did I do it? If I had to do it today, I don't think I could. Then I realized that during this whole period, I was empowered. And once the service was over, the empowerment was withdrawn. Of course, Krishna empowers us again and again and again to do different things. But it was very clear how Krishna had given some special power to be able to do that. So, in these pastimes, as devotees, first thing we should understand, never identify with the powers that we have, with the qualities that we have. Always remain very humble. What is humility? It means understanding, as Prabhupada said, that I am most insignificant in size. 1/10,000 the size of a tip of a hair. That, compared to the size of the universe, if you look at your own material body, you are practically invisible. So small. And if you look from the spiritual point of view, knowing that there are unlimited numbers of universes that are only a small portion of the totality of existence, because the spiritual world is much larger than the material world, then how big are we? That's why the word is used infinitesimal. The Lord is infinite and we are infinitesimal. So how proud can an infinitesimal little spark be? But still, due to the influence of the illusion, which first appears as the false ego, we have a tendency to think, to identify as powerful. The false ego is the first material element which covers the consciousness. And basically what it does is that it separates us from Krishna. As long as we remember Krishna, we are aware of Him, which means we are aware that the power is coming from Him. To be connected with Krishna means to feel the descent of His mercy. And when the false ego covers us, then we cannot see that descent anymore. We cannot perceive it. We think we are independent. Daityarat, this word was used in one of the verses. He is the ruler of the Daityas. So this word, Daityarat, we know that means Swarat, independent. One thinks that he is himself the source of his own power. So one lesson to learn from this pastime is always be very humble. Because the power is given and the power is also taken away. Then we will see how the demigods take shelter of Lord Varahadev. So that we should emulate in our life. Take shelter of the Lord. Take shelter of the Lord in any circumstances. Not just when there is trouble. In one sense, it's too late. We have to take shelter of the Lord all the time. And when there is trouble, even more. Therefore, the great sages and the Lord teach us that trouble is very good. Because it is in trouble that we are most devotional. We turn to the Lord. We take shelter of Him. It's an immense opportunity when we find adversity. It is an immense opportunity to grow, to affirm our relationship with the Lord. So in the material world, actually, there is no trouble for the devotees. Because even trouble is a good thing. Any suffering coming in our life, it is a good thing. And whenever, now the demigods, so one thing is they will take shelter of the Lord. And next thing is we will see in this pastime that they will display a great sense of gratitude. And some of them will also display some kind of regret, such as Lord Brahma, what have I done? I empowered demons. Diti, what have I done? I gave in to the influence, to the demoniac influence to begin with. So these are great lessons for us, to always remain humble, to always take shelter of the Lord in all circumstances, to always remain very faithful, full of faith. Avashya Rakshube Krishna. Krishna will always protect me. That faith has to be maintained. And for whatever we have at any moment in life, we should be grateful. There should always be a great gratitude in the heart. One time I was taking darshan in Krishna Balaram temple, and as I was going from Gauranitai's darshan, then Krishna Balaram's darshan, there was a huge crowd. So you know how it is in the big temples, you get tossed left, right. So finally I reached the darshan of Radha Shyam Sundar. And suddenly something happened as I was taking darshan of Radha Shyam Sundar. I don't know how. Sometimes, some little mercy, some little something. I was just struggling to maintain the darshan of Radha Shyam Sundar in the crowd. And suddenly, in my heart, I started having some kind of flashback. There was a flashback which came in the mind. I remembered so many people in my life that I met. One after the next, from the time of young age. I remembered these parents and this teacher and this friend and this enemy and this one, that one, this one, that one, so many people. And as I remembered each person, I perceived what they had given to me that made me the person I was that day. I understood. We do not grow alone in this world. We grow by the contribution of all the people we meet. Each and every person we encounter gives us something, refines our character, gives us determination, inspires us one way or the other, gives us some quality, helps us, encourages us, rectifies us, gives us trouble, which helps us go deeper. I saw the contribution of each and every person. And at the same time, naturally, what happened, when we become aware of this kind of thing, then this feeling in the heart of gratitude came. This feeling of gratitude is another great quality of the devotees, besides humility. To always be aware that whatever we are is not self-made. We have obtained it by the contribution of so many. So the life of the devotee is not only about externally serving, engaging one's senses in the service of the Lord. The main aspect of a devotee's life is internal contemplation, internal development, screening one's heart again and again. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, you must have heard, he says, every Ekadasi, that's what he was doing. Every Ekadasi, spend some time to review the last 15 days. 14, 15 days have passed. Just sit and review. What has happened during these days? on all different platforms. What was my state of mind? What did I learn? What did I do right? What did I do more or less wrong? What kind of feelings overwhelmed my heart? What kind of person have I been? Where was my faith? So this is very much necessary, to constantly screen oneself and see what is happening. Because the influence of Kali in this age is very much prominent. So we need to constantly, number one, be careful of what influences are actually working within our heart, on our consciousness. And secondly, we have to always remain grateful and thank the Lord for sending all the circumstances to us, all the people to us, who are surrounding us, who are guiding us, as I said, sometimes troubling us, for our personal growth. So this is the life of the devotee. Contemplation. We should not forget that Krishna consciousness is a yoga, bhakti yoga. We are bhakti yogis. We are not just sentimental worshippers, religionists. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radoksaje ahetukya pratyahata yatma supasidati. We will find satisfaction in this world by practicing the supreme dharma, which is devotional service, unalloyed devotional service unto the Supreme Lord. So this unalloyed means that we look for the alloys inside the heart. There are so many things, mixed motivations, lack of purity is there. Prabhupada referred to ISKCON as a huge washing machine. He says, when the clothes are in the washing machine, question is, are they dirty or are they clean? And the answer is neither dirty nor clean. They are in the process from dirty to clean. So that should be our contemplation always, based on our hearing the Shastra. How to remain sane, how to ward against the influences of Kali, and work together. Srila Prabhupada requested us towards the end of his stay that one thing we must do is cooperate together to push on this movement. The mission of Kali is to divide. What is the idea? Divide and rule. Divide and rule. So the duty of the devotees is to unite, work together, like Prabhupada said, bundle of sticks. Stay together, work together. Is it easy? No. This is a very important instruction of Prabhupada. It's like the instruction of Jesus. What is his first commandment? You shall forgive. Now, in order to forgive, so many other qualities are required that if you don't have them, you can never forgive. So by this just one word, he is asking his followers to be totally saintly. because without being saintly, one cannot forgive anything. Similarly, when Prabhupada said, cooperate, in order to cooperate, so much effort is required. So many qualities are required. This is his way to tell us, be saintly. Because that is the nature of a devotee, to be saintly. We cannot enter the spiritual world alone. This is the Sankirtan movement. We are all going together. We have to get along here, because in the spiritual world there is harmony. There is no enmity. So let us take inspiration from these pastimes, to take shelter of Krishna, to beg him always to enlighten us, to enlighten our path. Jnana deepena bhasvata. The torch of knowledge should shine in our heart, and it should guide our path, so that we can be responsible servants of the Lord in this world and please him, if he so desires, by returning to him when we leave our body. Hare Krishna. Any comment or question here?
You can share the realizations also. Now we are actively over to see this one.
Please go ahead.
As you said that the accumulation of the demonic forces are temporary, but if you observe our surroundings and our lifestyles, we found that the demonic forces are constantly increasing, and we all know that the four yugas in which Kali will always remain according to their cycle. So how it should be temporary demonic forces?
So he says that we said that the influence of the demoniac forces, we said, are temporary. But now in this age, it is the age of Kali, and we see the demoniac forces are increasing. And because it is the age of Kali, they are bound to keep increasing. So how do we say they are temporary? Well, the word temporary from our perspective and from the perspective of the Lord is different. So from the perspective of the Lord, it is said in Srimad Bhagavatam that our life, a human life, it is as from the perspective of Brahma, even, what to speak of the Lord. It is as long as the time which fits between two claps. This is our lifetimes, how they are passing, from the point of view of Brahma. One lifetime after the next. There is birth and death, birth and death, birth and death, and in between, we live a long life. It appears. And so, temporary, because Satya Yoga will come back and everything will go. All these demoniac influences will be finished. We also know that we are in the golden age for 10,000 years, so we do have a little hope right now that these demoniac forces will not have the upper hand for a very long time. Maybe some years, maybe, our perspective is different because we are so tiny. So for us, 100 years is like, oh my God, I'll be dead. But from the perspective of the duration of the universe, a few hundred years are nothing. So in that sense, temporary means different things. But the most important thing is not to let the demoniac forces influence us. They may influence everybody else. They may influence the whole world. But we should remain a devotee. We should seek the shelter of Krishna to be protected. So, and if we do, then Krishna will protect us. He will remove these things from our heart. Because it's very easy, oh, everybody is doing the wrong thing, why not me? Huh? But if we have knowledge, then we know that's not the right way to go. We take shelter of Krishna, and whatever influences come, they will go. But we should also be patient, because sometimes they don't go immediately. They stay for a little while. But still the devotee does not become depressed, because he has full faith, full confidence that ultimately my Lord will save me. That it should be deep in our heart.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
वंडरफुल क्लास थी और मैंने स्पेशली सीखा ये कि मेरा जो नेचर है फाइट करना, तो फाइट हम दूसरों से करते हैं, पर अब मैं यहाँ से आज लेके जा रही हूँ कि फाइट खुद से करना है, क्योंकि हमारे अंदर बहुत से अनर्थ हैं, तो उससे फाइट करना। फाइट नेचर है, कलयुग का भी नेचर है और मेरा भी नेचर है, मुझे फाइट अब खुद से करना है। ये मुझे पूरी क्लास में रियलाइज हुआ। थैंक यू सो मच।
Okay, very nice comment, very nice realization that, the fight should be with our own anarthas. We should fight Kali within ourselves. We should not fight with others. That is a good realization. Actually, when you realize this, it is very positive. It's a very wonderful realization. Let me deal with my own business. I should fight with the forces of Kali that are attacking my heart. I should not fight with others. Yes. Yes.
We are made about we should not be proud, or we are made because of and we are doing also. I have one question. You told about that we should cooperate. So can you give some tips? Like in Kaliuga we are seeing so many faults in the devotee and others also. So even after seeing so many faults in others, how can we develop this cooperative attitude? So can you give some tips so that we can carry that?
Good question. How can we develop a cooperative mood when we see so many faults in others? Yeah. First of all, to see faults is natural. Faults are there, number one. Intelligent discrimination is also there in our mind, so therefore we can see faults. But we should, first of all, always see that there are not only faults in people, there are also good points, especially amongst the devotees. Otherwise, how can they be devotees if they are not good? Unless they are downtrodden, crooked, false devotee who has come to steal, or somebody who is not a devotee, who is in the garb of a devotee, like Vatsasur. Krishna saw immediately. It is not a calf. It is a demon. So, but this is some exceptional cases. Otherwise, all the devotees are basically good. Otherwise, they will not be devotees. So, first thing is to somehow try to appreciate others, not just see their faults. It is not a sin to see others' faults, because it's okay. But we should also see the other side. We should see how they serve. We should see how they do their sadhana. We should see how they sometimes pray. Sometimes they struggle. We go through many different phases in our life. Sometimes there is a positive phase. Everything is wonderful. And at some other time, we are aggressed, attacked by Kali. Or we go through some karmic reactions, at least the shadow of it, and we become disturbed. So that's one thing. Number thing, appreciate the good. Another one is be compassionate. Yeah? Somebody who has some bad qualities, it is his suffering. That person is suffering. We are suffering from those bad qualities. Suppose he is quarrelsome. That is his suffering. Because of that quarrelsome mood, that person cannot make any good relationship. Is not liked by others. So what is it? Is it something good? No, it's actually hurting that person only. So should we despise that person just because of having, a tendency? Somebody tells lies from time to time. Okay. Oh, this is very not good at all. But who is suffering the most? It is that very person who is suffering the most. So therefore compassion should be there. When we see something wrong in others, we should see their suffering. They are suffering. They are suffering from such and such anarthas. So how should I react to it? I should pray for them. I should be merciful unto them. Usually when we see faults, you see, it means we are somehow or other placing ourselves above others. When you see the good, it's like you put people, in one sense, in a higher position, that you see, this is so good, so good. So you appreciate. But when you see the faults, it's like you rise above and you see, So if you see people below, what should be your attitude? We should always be compassionate to them. If we think so, that there are so many things. Because naturally when we see faults, it means I'm right. We see ourselves better than others. It's a tricky thing to see faults in others, although, as I said, it is natural. But the advice is we should not contemplate. And we should deal with it rationally in terms of relationships. But we should not contemplate on it. And we should be compassionate to that person. So that is the second point. And third thing is, put the thing that matters in the center. What is it that matters? What is it that matters is Prabhupada's mission should be in the center. Krishna's pleasure should be in the center. Spiritual advancement should be in the center. Is this the center of my life? So if each and everyone in the community has Krishna as the center, Prabhupada as the center, spiritual advancement as the center, then cooperation is possible. Because we have the same center. The image is given that when you throw a stone in a peaceful pool of water, it falls and it creates concentric circles, waves. As long as you throw one stone, there is one center, an unlimited number of concentric circles are accommodated. But as soon as you throw 2 stones, 3 stones, 4 stones, then what happens? Each stone creates concentric centers, and all the concentric centers, they break each other. And then instead of having a beautiful design on the pond, you just have small waves in all directions. So, the secret of cooperation is to put ourselves out of the center and put Krishna in the center and see what is good for Krishna, what is good for preaching, what is good for the community, what is good for the spiritual advancement of myself and others. If we see like this, then somehow we can cooperate. And of course, cooperation, as we said, means we have to cultivate some nice qualities such as tolerance. Others have to tolerate me. How can I not tolerate others? Everyone has some problems that others have to put up with. So, we should also put up with others. Suppose you take birth in a family, right? There are so many personalities in a family. So many personalities. So some may be very conducive with your nature, you get along, and some brother is like such a pester, But because he is your brother, you tolerate. Because there is affection. So, in a community, the cultivation of affection is very important. We should love each other. We should have some affection. We should feel that we are a family, and we are. What is our family? Vasudeva Kutumba. But sometimes we don't feel like this. Because within the material family there is this physical bound, all came out of the same womb. All our brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers. And so there is this bond, which is actually what keeps us in this world. So that affection that we have for family members, which is based on the bodily connection, that same affection we should have for the devotees on the basis of our spiritual connection. We have the same Father in terms of Krishna. We have the same Father in terms of our Guru. We belong to the same family. So we have to increase our spiritual consciousness in order to stay together. And another point we can give is try to see Krishna's perspective. Try to see Krishna's perspective. Prabhupada said it's like with a mother who has 3 kids, 2 are brilliant, 1 is dumb or retarded. Is our love less for the retarded kid? No, it is not. Because of mamata, the possessiveness which is born from affection and love. So Krishna loves everybody. How can I despise any? I should even appreciate the ants. Aren't they nasty? Aren't they getting everywhere? We're always fighting with insects, ants, but they are also, Prabhupada said, universal brotherhood. It doesn't stop to the species to which we belong. All souls are children of the Lord. So these are some points to help us cooperate. Cooperation is also on the practical level. It is enacted through communication, good communication. It is said when you communicate, 90% of the problems are solved. Because sometimes we just don't understand each other until we sit down and talk. So this is a practical thing. Communication. Sit down, discuss, talk, openly or privately. This is also part of our practice. It is called Guhyam Akhyati Pritchati. Guhyam. What is hidden in our heart, we reveal to someone and we discuss. So how can we move forward? Because Prabhupada has made both of us devotees. Guru has initiated both of us, and we both are services and all that. So how can we get along? Is there another solution? No, there is no other solution. We have to get along. Otherwise, what is the difference between us and the Asuras? The Asuras, they cannot tolerate others. They always have to dominate. See, cooperation means sometimes you can't dominate. You have to be interdependent. Work together. That's difficult. So cooperation is really a very tall order that Prabhupada has given us, because so much is required in order to cooperate. That's why I compared it to the order of Jesus. Can you forgive? My God. To forgive, you have to go deep inside, very deep inside. So similarly to cooperate, you also have to go deep inside. Is that useful?
Details of the cooperation, and there are many points, but I just repeat one or two. Like you told, the Holsigo is the first aspect of the material element, which covers our consciousness and separates us from Krishna. That is one of the very important aspects of the eight elements, the material elements, first of all. Secondly, as you detailed, this whole can we just check in one nutshell whether this activity is going to please my Guru and Prabhupada? That is one of the way we have to check it. Whether this activity or this thought or this action is going to please Prabhupada. That is the true point or the center point of the whole of the practice and services.
Yeah. Okay. Was there a question, Janvi?
Very nice class, Mataji. Thank you. You said that, when our confidence that we are the doers, we have power, and in our own power we have this misconception that Krishna wants to train that false ego. And you said that the devotee should keep trimming false egos in their own. But one aspect you said that ego, when you are in illusion, you are covered. So how can we trim when we don't know that we have it?
Krishna will help us. Usually others are very fond of trimming our ego. One thing that we have is a Guru, we have seniors, or if we don't have, we should look for them. We should be under the shelter of some seniors who can see what we are doing. If we have no seniors above our head, then that can happen, that we just keep walking in the dark and we think we're right and we don't see. It is true. Ignorance ignores itself. There's a saying, ignorance ignores itself. Because when ignorance is there, you cannot see. So you cannot see even ignorance. So the false ego is like this. We see our own misbehaviors. So we must take shelter of seniors and check. This is the whole thing that Prabhupada established in Krishna consciousness. The system, he said we have one Diksha Guru, many Shiksha Gurus. So we have to take direction from others. We have to consult, not stay alone. To stay alone in Krishna consciousness is very dangerous. We always have to have some connections, some peers. Like we see sometimes in our communities, people are preaching. So when you preach, you have a whole bunch of followers. Yeah? So, and then the relationship is you, and all your relationships are downwards with the people that you preach to. There are many preachers like that. But it is recommended that this is actually very dangerous. You should also have peers, and you should also have superiors. Otherwise, one can get lost. This is given in the Madhurya Kadambini. Yesterday evening we were reading from Madhurya Kadambini, that
Class on Mother Kadambini.
even when we practice bhakti, we can cultivate some wrong things if we are not properly under guidance. So that's one answer I can give how to trim the ego. We speak to others, we ask for feedback, even if it's not from superiors, even from equals, even from the people under us that we are guiding. Sometimes they see. So we should not be oppressive to others. We should always be open for feedback. We should always be ready to learn, to correct ourselves. It takes a lot of humility. But this is the path of advancement. Is that okay? All right, it is getting late. I think we will stop here. Thank you very much.
Those who are really very seriously interested are still here. Those who are very serious to understand the deep principles of bhakti are still present here in the class. That's all.
Well, it may appear like this, but some serious people might have to seriously go to work. It's okay. Different, there are circumstances. We went a little over time, so therefore some devotees left. So thank you for your association. Thank you for inviting me here. And I'm very grateful. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki, Jai Sadhu Sangha ki, Jai Hari Hari Bol.